Okay, in today's video we're going to look at the side stand switch on the ZSB. Now this can cause some problems. It's probably a cause of not starting, probably one of the main causes of not starting with the bike. And the typical one is that people just try to start it on the side stand. If you try to start it on the side stand, that just cuts the ignition and the bike won't start. It's very easy to forget you've got the stand down. Even if it's on the centre stand and you do that, it's going to cut the ignition and the bike doesn't start. The bike continues to spin over on the starter, but it just won't fire. It's very confusing. Unlike more expensive systems which actually cut the starter button, or I've got a clutch cutout that works with it, allows you to run the bike. You can't start the bike at all on the side stand, so you can't actually run the bike on the side stand in the garage, or you can't warm the bike up on the side stand, and that's a problem. And people often catches people out. Before I start, let's just have a little chat about it. And often what will happen is that people will remove the switch, disconnect it or remove it, so the bike will run with the stand down, and that's absolutely fine. If that works for you, then that works for you. But for most learners, and the ZSB really is sort of a learner bike, it's a very good way of stopping people riding off with the side stand down, which can be quite dangerous. It's a very solid side stand and I wouldn't like to ride off with that down. It probably will cause problems. So it is a really useful feature, and one that I think you probably want to keep for a novice rider or an inexperienced rider. So the trick is not just to remove it, but just to understand how it works and be mindful of it, and just remember and just have a bit of a drill in your head. If the bike refuses to start, side stand, think about the side stand. Okay, so we'll crack on. We'll take the switch off. We'll show you how to clean it, refit it, how it works, which will also be useful for people who've had their side stand switch removed if they want to reinstate it. Okay, so the side panel's a bit of a fiddle to remove, really, because the seat's so low here. So what I tend to do is unclip it at the bottom first. Okay, then unclip the front. And then this one, you just need to waggle it out a bit, get your fingers behind it, pull it out, and there's just enough room there to waggle it between the seat and just ease it out. Okay, and we can see here's the main switch here. Now the bike will run with that disconnected, so if you do have a problem, switch is faulty, the bike won't start, stands up, it still won't start, try disconnecting the switch. If the bike then starts, you know the switch is effort or is to cause the problem. If you do want to disconnect it, this is the place to do it. Just disconnect it here, remove the wiring. As I said, I recommend you don't do that, and that you do keep the switch. Of course, this switch also needs to be nice and clean. Gets a bit of heat off the back wheel here. Now it's covered by this plastic thing, so it's not too bad, but it's worth just keeping a check on that, making sure that's nice and clean. Maybe every time you clean your air filter out, you should check it. Okay, so the switch itself. Okay, so it just has a Phillips screw here. If you just remove that carefully. Now be careful not to lose, there's a few little parts with this, so if you do take it apart, just be careful. It's got a nice little washer on there. It's fine, and I'm guessing that is like an M6x15. If you've lost this bolt, then I would order M6x15, like a button head Allen or something like that is what you want on there. Okay, so you can just now pull the switch off, and you can see how the switch works. It's actually got a peg on the back, and there's a corresponding hole in the side stand. So as this, the side stand goes up and down, it moves this back and forth, and that's how it works. So if we just with a pair of pliers, just very carefully remove this. Now be careful because it does like to spring apart. Okay, so I can just take this apart, and you can see there's the contact for it, and you can see how it works. Now you can see that's lovely and clean. Yours needs to be that clean. It doesn't hurt just to spray a little bit of WD-40 in there. Keep that nice and clean. Keep the water out. We'll do that. Just keep that nice and clean. I'm gonna pop that back in, and that's basically how it works. So if you just pop that back in, okay. Actually, before I do that, let me just take it out again. If you're wondering how that goes together, there's on the spring there's two little folded arms, and they just lock into the side of there like that. It's all very well made, there's nothing really cheap about it. The switch plastic's a little bit cheap, but you know, it is what it is. It's not a bad little switch. Just make sure that that's all. As it's got a little bit of waterproofing on there. Okay, and to locate it, just make sure you have that at the lower position. It's always a good idea to keep that nicely lubed as well. Make sure that that peg goes into the hole, and this U bit here goes around this sticky out arm here. Okay, just a bit of a little faff to put it on. Okay, and that's on. And as you say, if you move the stand down, you can see that it's moving the centre pivot there. Okay, so I'm just going to put that back together again. Plenty of grease on there, anti-seize on there. Pop that back together. Okay. Right, and then I just do a little check to make sure that's going to work. So push the stand up. And that's working fine. That's all it is to it, really. Any questions? Leave a comment, leave a like, I don't know, whatever you want to do. Simple as that, really.